So as you begin to trade stocks, it's really good to know how your stock trades before you enter a position with it. It's good to know all of the following information. You want to know where's support, where the buyers tend to come in, where's resistance, where the sellers tend to come in, what's the trend of the stock over different time frames. It's good to know how far a stock moves each day, called the average daily move. You will benefit by knowing the average move intraday and counter move against the trend. So that's all good to know. And then as you're trading, you want to know, is the stock moving stronger than the market? Is it moving weaker than the market? Or is it just trading with the market? Because remember, most stocks will trade with the market most of the time, unless it has a reason not to. So if it does have a reason to move separate from the way the market is moving, that's really good information to know. So let's look at some stocks. Here's Coca-Cola. And I want to answer the question, what's an average daily move for Coke? So these horizontal lines are 25-cent increments. And on this day, looks like Coke moved about 25 cents. On this day, it moved a little bit more than that, but it wasn't a full 50 cents. So let's maybe 35 cents. On this day, and this day, a little bit more than 25 cents, 35 cents. This is a pretty big candle with that tail up there. That's probably a 50-cent day. This is one of the biggest candles of the chart, and that is more than 50 cents. So you can see that an average move is about 25 cents, and a pretty big move is 50 cents. So if you're risking 25 cents to make 50 cents, it's probably not going to happen, at least not very often, okay? And that wouldn't be a good risk-reward profile for Coke based on the way it moves. So let's look at a different stock then. Excuse me. Okay. First off, let's look at the intraday moves of Coca-Cola. Now, these are 10-cent increments we're looking at. So right after the open, Coca-Cola moved up and down 2 or 3 cents. When it started to trend, it moved up about 12 cents. Then it had a counter move, actually sort of trended down after that. So it trended for the rest of the day down to about a 10-cent drop, about a 5 or 6 cent bounce back up, and then it came back down. So that gives you an idea of how big are the moves. Let's look at this day. Coke opened around 43.32. It went down to 43.22. There's a 10-cent move, about a 5-cent bounce, about another 10-cent move. And then we have it climbing the rest of the day about 20 cents. So you can see that, the main moves can be 10 to 20 cents, and the pullback moves are around 5 to 10 cents. Good to know. Let's look at a different stock now. This is very different from Nvidia, that is a tech stock and very volatile. It's all over the place. This is a one-day chart of Nvidia. So first off, the lowest of the day was around 102.75, and the high was over 104.50. So that's what is that? It's about $1.75 to $2 move in one day, compared to a quarter for Coke. Well, that's good information. How big are the moves? Well, let's see. At the open, we've got 103 to 104. That's a dollar move, a little bit over a dollar. Then it moved down over a dollar, about $1.25. And here's where you get the moves and the counter moves. So you've got, looks like about almost a dollar move, quarter pullback or so, then a 50-cent move, and then about a quarter pullback, and then a 75-cent move, and then we have downtrend. that was 50 cents. So gives you a really good feel for how Nvidia moves compared to Coke. The numbers obviously are quite different. The volatility is different. So you need to be able to figure that out as you place trades to calculate risk versus reward before you enter trades. You got to know that before you enter the trade. So let's say you get into a trade or you're looking to get into a trade. Let's look at very valuable information. Here is Delta Airlines, DAL, and here is the market represented by the spiders, SPY. So let's take a look at this. This is the whole day. I think these are 10-minute charts, but they're both the same charts. So from the open, the market is down and then back up to break even and then down up to break even. And then we have a solid move down at 11:30 or shortly thereafter. Okay. What happens with Delta Airlines? Well, it's up right out of the gate for the first half hour of trading. Then we've got a pullback, and then it's up again, then we've got a pullback. Now, at 11:30, we're sitting on the highs for Delta Airlines, whereas before the down move, we're already down a little bit in the spiders. Already, Delta Airlines is showing a lot of relative strength. Okay. So here's what I really want to see when I'm in a stock or looking to get in a stock. The spiders drop really hard after 11:30. And what happens to Delta Airlines? The stock does have a pullback, a little bit of a pullback, but not much. Percentage-wise, if it was equal to what the spiders were doing, it would be way down here. But that's not what happened. Just pulled back a little bit, and then it resumed its upward trend, showing lots of strength, lots of buying pressure that's winning over the selling pressure. So if I were just looking at these two charts, and I saw the spiders do that, and Delta not following it, I'd be looking to buy it right about there when the market is right about here, because it looks like the down move is done for at least temporarily with the spiders, and Delta looks very strong. And so I'm going to buy it right there. And in fact, look what happened after that. The market is still down on the day, although it's pulled back up a little bit from the lows, whereas Delta is going to the high of the day, its highest price of the day. So that is really good information. Likewise, if you see a stock, weak, when the market is up, the market goes down just a little bit and your stock goes down hard, well, that's good information. That tells you that's a good weak candidate, a good opportunity to short that stock. So that's really good to know. A good observation to help you find a great stock to trade. And it tips you off what direction, what direction it's going to go. So let's review. When you trade, it's good to know where's support, where's resistance, where's the trend of the last week, and what's the trend of the day. You also would like to know about how much your stock moves each day. And intraday, what's the average move and counter move? Now this, obviously, the intraday movement for the same stock can change from day to day, but still you can have an idea about how big the moves are. And then as you trade, you can gauge how your stock is doing compared to the market. Is it showing relative strength? Is it relatively weak compared to the market? Or is it just doing exactly the same following the market? It's really helpful for you to know if you want to stay in a trade or not. Okay. Go ahead and take the quiz now, and when you're ready, move on to the next lesson.